forgot to unmute myself. Hello and welcome back to the English for Success podcast. I'm your host and your English fluency coach, Shane Mackey. And today I'm here to continue talking about something that is very important for you to reach English fluency and something that most people in the world, are not paying attention to. And this is probably more important than studying grammar and vocabulary. So if you're here, interact with me, come into the comments, say hello, and I am going to jump straight in here. We're not going to waste any time today, but I'm going to show you what we're talking about. Let me bring this up on my screen here. Okay, so today's episode of the podcast, what are we talking about? This is the main message. Psychology is more important than grammar and vocabulary. So, psychology, first of all, what is psychology? Do you understand what psychology is? An important word for today. It's all about the brain, it's all about the mind, it's the way we think. And that's what we're talking about here. So, as we start, do think about this for a second. Do you agree with this, or how do you feel about this statement that psychology is more important than grammar and vocabulary? Is this surprising to you? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Before I jump in, let me know. Okay. Hi, I'm fun. Okay. Yeah, jump into the comments, say hello. You can interact with me here while I'm live and also on the replay. I get all your comments later on. So, what am I talking about here? Psychology more important than grammar and vocabulary. Well, how do you feel when you speak in English? How do you feel about learning English? Do you have any memories? Do you have any past experiences that influence how you feel? When I'm speaking to people daily, English learners like you, these are the kind of answers that I get. Afraid, frustrated. What does frustrated mean? It's almost like angry because you're not making progress. Blocked, nervous, stressed. This, most people that I'm speaking to feel these feelings when they're thinking about speaking in English. Okay, we're talking about speaking in English here. And why is this? Well, most people have been struggling doing something very difficult. You can see the image on the screen here. See, this person has a big heavy ball they're trying to move up this mountain. That's struggling. That's struggling. So most people have been struggling for so long that they fear that there is no solution to speak English fluently. All right, this is, as I said, I'm speaking to a lot of English learners, and this is the general idea. So I can think of someone who joined our program a couple of months ago. She said that this was her last chance to finally speak English with confidence. Most people believe there is no solution. And why is that? Well, it's down to the traditional ways of studying English, the way we're taught English in school and most English courses and English teachers out there. And it's focused on, well, there's a lot of problems with this system. It's focused on studying, memorizing grammar rules and vocabulary, and it's telling us that mistakes are bad and you shouldn't be making mistakes. And people have some pretty bad memories of maybe trying to speak out in English class, and the teacher tells you that you made a mistake and you feel embarrassed. right? And it's focused on points and exams and tests. And this is the big reason why people have these negative emotions. They feel in a negative way. They don't feel positive about English. What's the result when you learn English in this way, by memorizing, by translating, by studying grammar rules? What happens when you try to speak? What happens when you try to have a conversation in English? It's such a process. This is why you feel stressed, frustrated, blocked. What is happening in the brain? Well, you think of a sentence in L1. L1 I'm using here just for short means language one. This is your native language. So what happens when you have to speak English? A lot of people do this. I have to point in the wrong direction. It's swapped on my screen. So first, think of a sentence in your native language. Then most people are translating that language, that sentence into English. And then they're worrying about the grammar. They're going back and checking over the grammar, and then they speak. And if you're in a conversation with someone, you also have to be listening to the other person. So what happens? You listen to them speaking in English, then you have to translate it into your own native language. Then you have to think of a response. How are you going to answer this question in your own native language? Then translating it back into English. Then trying to check the grammar and make sure that it's okay and there's not any grammar mistakes. And then trying to give your answer in English. This is too much. This is too much processing in your brain. Tell me in the comments, is this how you feel? Is this what happens in your brain when you're trying to speak with someone in English? This is too much. And this is not your fault. This is the traditional way that English is taught in schools. Studying grammar, translating lists of vocabulary, and maybe you feel like this is not working. This does not help you to have a fluent conversation in English. So this is why a lot of you feel afraid, stressed, frustrated, blocked, nervous when you're trying to speak in English. Well, what if I told you that there is another way? And this is what I'm going to share with you here today in today's podcast. Imagine if you didn't feel like this, but instead you felt powerful when you spoke English. You felt confident, excited, and proud of yourself. Do you think your conversations in English would be better if you had these? I keep pointing in the wrong way. If you had these emotions, do you think that would have an effect on your communication skills and your ability to learn English? Well, what we're talking about here is that there are two parts to speaking English fluently: the method and the mindset. Now, most people are focusing on the method, right? How you improve, how you develop, what you do to reach your goal. That's the method. But the thing that most schools and most traditional courses don't talk about and don't take into account is the mindset. Okay, back to that word psychology, about the brain, about what's happening in your brain. So think about if you're driving a car on the road to fluency, right? There are two things that are important here, right? The car and the fuel. Now, the car can be thought of as the method, what you do, all right? And it doesn't matter how perfect this method is if you don't put the right fuel into the car. The trick is that the right car plus the right fuel, that is when you can reach success with your English. And today we're talking about the fuel, the one thing that most people are not talking about, right? Most people are talking about the car, the method. What do you do to improve your English skills? Okay, so today we're looking at the other side, the fuel. What is the fuel? The fuel is your mindset. It is your beliefs about learning English. It is your emotions, your motivation, your confidence, your energy, and your enthusiasm for speaking English. Okay, so let's look at this for a moment. And, this is very important moving forward. Have you ever thought about these things before? So we have positive emotions and negative emotions, okay? And research, science clearly tells us that learners or students who are feeling positive emotions, they learn better, right? Positive emotions are linked to high performance. You learn better, you remember more, you have better results, right? And negative emotions are linked to low performance. So if you think of students in a classroom in school being drilled with grammar activities by a teacher for years, they have negative emotions, they feel bored, they feel frustrated, and their results are very low, right? And when you think about it, what positive emotions, what can you associate, what can you think about with positive emotions? Listening to your favorite song, I can very easily associate with positive emotions. All right. And negative emotions, maybe you could think back to an experience you had in school when a teacher told you you made a mistake and you felt embarrassed, right? And you can see an image here in the center of this screen. This is an anchor. Okay, and this is a powerful practice that you can use to improve your results for English. What we want to do is we want to break the connection with negative emotions and learning English, because a lot of people have a a negative emotion associated with learning English and speaking English. And the good news is you can break this connection and you can actually connect positive emotions to learning English and then have a positive experience and great results. Okay, so how do we do this? You know already, right? Let me ask you a question. Well, first of all, it's possible to create your emotions. Do you believe this? This is 100% true. You can create your own emotions, right? And this is very important because we know already that emotions can have a huge effect on our results when we're learning English. Okay, so how do you create your emotions? Maybe you're thinking, this is not possible. You can't create your emotions. Well, you can. So let's do an experiment. Imagine if you wanted to feel sad right now. If I told you you have to feel sad, if you were an actor and you were acting in a movie and you wanted to look like you were very sad and you wanted to really feel sad, what would you do? Think about this for a moment. How could you make yourself feel sad? What would you think about? Maybe you have a terrible memory. Someone has passed away. Can think of a memory that made you feel sad. You can focus on something negative. Maybe with related to English, you could remember a situation in a classroom where you tried to speak in English and the teacher told you you were wrong and everybody laughed. That's going to make you feel sad. What would your body look like? How about your shoulders? Would your shoulders be forward or would they be back? Your head, would you hold your head high or low? Would you smile or would you frown? Right? When you do these actions, you can affect the way you feel, right? It makes sense, doesn't it? What would you say to yourself? What would you be thinking about? English is very complicated. English is too difficult. I have been studying English for 15 years and I still cannot speak. I am not good at learning English. You could say these things to yourself. You could focus on a negative memory and you could use your body language, right? You can understand how you can make yourself feel sad. Well, the same is true for making yourself feel good, feel happy. What would you do? How, if I told you right now you have to feel happy, or again, you're an actor and you have to play the role of someone very happy on their birthday or something, what would you do? Well, you could think about a positive memory, a time when you were very successful, or a great holiday, or you could think about the future. When you can speak English with confidence, how much better is your life going to be? What would your body look like? Would your shoulders be forward, your head down, or would your shoulders be back and your head up? Would you be smiling or would you be frowning? What would you be saying to yourself? I can learn English. There are many people out there who speak English fluently. It doesn't take 15 years to speak English fluently. Really, if you do the right thing, if you have the right car, the right method, you can speak English fluently in 6 months, right? So you can actually make yourself feel good. Think about listening to your favorite song. I'm sure you have a song that makes you feel good. Maybe the first time you heard it, it was a good experience, a beautiful day, a very happy situation. And then every time you listen to that song, it can make you feel good again. Or you've listened to that song in a good situation, then it reinforces how powerful that song has an effect on your emotions. Maybe you have a song that you listen to before you go out with your friends, a song to give you energy, right? So you can affect the emotions that you feel. This very simple exercise, it should give you an idea of how strong, how how possible it is to change your emotions. The thing about mindset and emotions is that there are three main things that affect how we feel, right? And that short exercise there should give you an idea. What were we talking about? Well, one thing that really affects how we feel is our body, what we do with our body, right? Sitting like this, your head down, frowning, can actually affect your emotions, right? And you can make yourself feel happy by putting your shoulders back, your head up, smiling. You can make this extreme. Tony Robbins talks about power poses, right? You do something that makes you feel powerful, right? This research shows again and again that your physiology, your body, what you do with your body can affect how you feel. Okay, movement, a great way to get you into a good state of mind. So body, the next thing is focus, right? What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on negative memories and negative things, or are you focusing on the positive? In every situation, there is always something negative, but there is also always something positive. It's up to you what you focus on. Okay? And then finally, the language you use. What do you say to yourself? Do you say English is easy? English is fun. I can speak English fluently in 6 months. When I can speak English with confidence, my life is going to improve. I'm going to advance in my career. I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to reach my goals in life, right? They are the three main parts that you can use to affect your feeling, your mindset, your emotions. Body, focus, and language. Take this with you, very simple idea, and make sure that you get yourself in the correct mindset for learning English. Remember my analogy here today. The car and the fuel. You could have the best supercar in the world. You could be driving a Ferrari, but the fuel, your mindset, your emotions has to be the right fuel for that car. The first step to faster travel on the road to fluency is your mindset, and you're in control of your mindset. Use those 3 tips I gave you today to make sure you get in a positive frame of mind every time you are learning English, and you will see amazing results. If you have a negative mindset, negative emotions every time you're trying to learn English, your results are going to be poor. If you have positive emotions and you use those 3 things to create positive emotions, then your results are going to be better. That's what I wanted to give you all here today in this podcast. If you want our new guide, right, our PDF guide, we're updating this all the time right now. We're also adding videos as well, the 6 steps to speaking business English fluently in 6 months. You can do this in 6 months. This PDF, this guide is completely free. If you want it, you can comment guide below this video. Once again, I wish you all a fantastic 2024. Use what we spoke about here today. Get the right mindset. Bring that mindset in with you to 2024 and get great results. I'll see you all in 2024 in the next podcast. Comment guide below if you want a copy of our new guide, and I'll see you all soon. Have a great new year. Have a great 2024. Let's do this. Let's make 2024 the year you speak English fluently. You can do it.